Admiral Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UES Phantom. His hands were behind his back as he watched the big screen in front of him. The screen showed aliens talking in a huge room filled with different creatures from across the galaxy. The aliens looked like living crystals that walked on two legs. They were tall, much taller than humans, and their skins sparkled like diamonds under bright lights. Emperor Vextar was the biggest one of all. He stood at the center of the room, speaking to hundreds of other alien species. His voice was deep and cold. Even through the translation machine, Jake could hear the hate in every word. "The humans of Earth are weak," the Emperor said. His crystal face turned toward the camera. "They can barely fly between planets. Their ships are slow and ugly. Their weapons are old and useless. We only let them join our council because we feel sorry for them." Jake felt his jaw tighten. Around him, his crew watched the screen with angry faces. These aliens had been saying the same things for 3 years now. Every meeting was the same. Earth was weak. Earth was stupid. Earth should be grateful that the great Zephyrian Empire even noticed them. On the screen, other aliens nodded their heads. The Korath looked like giant lizards with sharp teeth. They hissed their agreement. The Hive Mind Collective were like giant bugs that clicked and buzzed when they talked. Even they seemed to think Earth was a joke. The Luminari were beings made of pure light, and even they glowed dimmer when humans were mentioned. In the middle of all these powerful aliens sat one human. Ambassador Lisa Carter wore her best uniform, but she looked tiny compared to everyone else. Her face was red with shame as alien after alien stood up to mock her world. She had to sit there and take it. That was her job. Back on Earth, President. Ryan Hayes watched the same broadcast from his office. The White House had a special room just for receiving signals from space. The president sat in a big leather chair, but he was not comfortable. Next to him stood General Patricia Wells. She was the head of Earth Space Force, and she carried a folder marked with red letters that said, "Top Secret." "How much longer do we have to do this?" President Hayes asked. He rubbed his forehead. "How much longer do we sit there and let them call us names?" General Wells looked at her folder. Inside were papers that could change everything. Pictures of ships that no alien had ever seen. Numbers that would make the Zephyrian Empire very afraid. Plans that had been 3 years in the making. "Until they attack us first, sir," she said. "Our hidden fleet is ready. But we need them to make the first move. The galaxy has to see that they started the fight." The president nodded. He understood. Earth had to look like the victim. That way, when the truth came out, no one could say humans were the bad guys. Far out in space, beyond where any alien scanner could see, 50 human ships waited in the dark. They floated in empty space between planets, invisible to every form of detection the galaxy knew about. These were not the ships that aliens had seen. These were not the slow, weak vessels that the Zephyrian Empire laughed at. Captain Danny Rodriguez sat in the command chair of the UES Wraith. His ship was long and black, shaped like a knife cutting through space. The hull was covered in special material that bent light around it. Alien eyes could look right at his ship and see nothing but empty space. Inside the ship, everything was different from the vessels that docked at alien space stations. The walls hummed with power from reactors that aliens thought were impossible to build. Computers that could think faster than any alien brain processed information from sensors that could see across entire star systems. Danny put his hand on a metal plate next to his chair. The ship's computer connected directly to his mind through tiny wires under his skin. He could feel the ship's engines waiting to unleash power that would surprise every alien in the galaxy. He could sense the weapons that charged with energy, unknown to alien science. "How are our friends doing?" he asked his crew. Lieutenant Sarah Kim looked up from her station. She was watching the alien broadcast on a small screen. "Same as always, Captain. They think we're weak. They think we're stupid." "Good," Danny said. He smiled, but it was not a happy smile. It was the smile of a hunter watching prey walk into a trap. Let them think that. Let them keep thinking that. Around the solar system, 49 other ships waited just like the Wraith. Each one was commanded by humans who had trained for years for this moment. Each crew knew that Earth's real strength was hidden in the darkness of space, waiting for the right time to show itself. On Earth, millions of people watched the alien broadcast. They saw their ambassador sitting alone among creatures that thought humans were nothing special. They heard the Emperor's words about how weak and pathetic Earth was. Many people were angry. Some were scared. A few were sad. None of them knew about the ships waiting in the dark. None of them knew about the weapons that could tear apart alien shields. None of them knew that Earth had been planning for this day since the first moment they met the Zephyrian Empire. Admiral Morrison turned away from the screen. The alien meeting was ending, and Emperor Vextar was making more threats about what would happen if Earth did not obey Zephyrian laws. The same threats he made every month. "Sir," said Commander Tom Parker, Morrison's second in command. "How much longer do you think we'll have to wait?" Morrison looked out at the stars through the bridge windows. Somewhere out there, the Zephyrian Empire had hundreds of ships ready to attack Earth. They thought it would be easy. They thought humans would surrender without a real fight. "Not much longer," Morrison said. "The Emperor is getting angry. Angry people make mistakes, and when he makes his mistake, we'll be ready to show him what humans can really do." The commander nodded. Like everyone else on the hidden fleet, he had been waiting for 3 years. 3 years of watching aliens mock his homeworld. 3 years of pretending to be weak while getting stronger in secret. The waiting was almost over. Soon, the galaxy would learn that mocking Earth was the worst mistake the Zephyrian Empire had ever made. 3 months passed after the council meeting. Emperor Vextar sat in his throne room on the biggest ship in the galaxy. The room was made of crystal walls that caught the light from distant stars. He had been thinking about the humans for weeks, now, and his anger grew stronger each day. The small blue planet called Earth was not following orders. The Zephyrian Empire had told them to stop mining rocks in the asteroid belt. They had told them to keep their ships close to their home world. But the humans kept doing what they wanted to do. "Enough," the Emperor said to his advisors. His voice made the crystal walls shake. "The humans think they can ignore us. It is time to teach them a lesson." General Kethvar, the Emperor's top military leader, bowed his crystal head. "What are your orders, my Emperor?" "Send a message to Earth. Tell them they have 3 days to remove all their ships from space. Tell them to destroy their space stations. Tell them to surrender their weapons. If they do not obey, we will consider it an act of war." The general's crystal face glowed brighter. "And if they refuse?" Emperor Vextar stood up from his throne. He was 12 feet tall, and his body sparkled like a giant diamond. "Then we will destroy them all. Every human ship, every space station, every human who dares to fly among the stars." The message reached Earth during an emergency meeting of world leaders. Ambassador Lisa Carter appeared on screens around the globe. She was still at the alien council station, and her face was pale with fear. "The Emperor has given us an ultimatum," she said. Her voice shook as she spoke. "We have 72 hours to remove all human presence from space beyond the moon. All military ships must return to Earth. All space stations must be destroyed. All weapons must be surrendered." President Hayes sat in the underground bunker beneath the Rocky Mountains. Around him were generals, scientists, and leaders from every major country on Earth. The room was filled with computer screens and maps of space. "What happens if we refuse?" asked General Wells. Ambassador Carter looked directly at the camera. "Then the Zephyrian Empire will send their fleet to destroy us. The Emperor made it clear. He said human ships are like insects buzzing around their territory. He wants to swat us all." Back at the alien council station, Emperor Vexistar stood before hundreds of alien species. His voice boomed through the great hall as he spoke to the gathered delegates. "For too long we have been patient with the humans," he declared. "They have forgotten their place in the cosmic order. Their little ships fly where they should not fly. Their miners take resources that belong to greater civilizations." The Korath delegate, a giant lizard called General Sizkarak, showed his sharp teeth in what might have been a smile. "The Zephyrian fleet is the strongest in the galaxy. Human ships would be destroyed in minutes. Other aliens nodded their agreement. The bug-like hive mind collective clicked and buzzed their approval. Even the luminary, beings of pure light, seemed to glow with satisfaction at the thought of putting humans in their place. The humans will learn, Emperor Vextar continued. They will learn that defying the Zephyrian Empire brings only death. In the underground bunker on Earth, President Hayes looked around the room at his advisors. These were the people who knew Earth's greatest secrets. They knew about the ships hiding in the darkness of space. They knew about weapons that could change the balance of power in the galaxy. Dr. Helen Brooks stood up from her chair. She was the head of Earth's most secret science project. For 10 years, she had been working on weapons and ships that no alien had ever imagined. Operation Ghostwalk is ready, she announced to the room. Our hidden fleet has been watching the Zephyrians for 3 years. We know where their ships patrol. We know how their weapons work. We know their weaknesses. She pressed a button and the room filled with holographic images. Pictures of alien ships taken by cameras they never knew existed. Charts showing the movement of Zephyrian fleets. Numbers that revealed the true strength of human technology. They expect to face 30 human ships with old weapons, Dr. Brooks continued. They have no idea about the other 50 ships that have been studying them. Admiral Morrison appeared on the main screen. He was speaking from the bridge of the UES Phantom, somewhere in the darkness between planets. Behind him, his crew worked at stations filled with technology that would make alien scientists weep with envy. Sir, the Admiral said to President Hayes, our ships are in position throughout Zephyrian space. We have been mapping their bases, learning their patrol schedules, and studying their technology. When they come to Earth, they will find us waiting. General Wells opened her red folder and pulled out a photograph. It showed a weapon that looked like a simple metal tube, but the numbers written below it told a different story. And they certainly do not know about our quantum disruption cannon, she said with a cold smile. It took us 10 years to build. It can tear apart their shields like paper. The room fell silent as everyone looked at the photograph. This was the weapon that would change everything. This was the surprise that would shock the galaxy. President Hayes stood up from his chair. His face was hard with determination. Let them come. Let the Emperor send his fleet. It is time the galaxy learned that Earth does not bow to anyone. What about our visible ships? Asked General Wells. The 30 ships that dock at alien stations? They will meet the Zephyrian fleet as planned, President Hayes replied. They will look weak and outnumbered. The aliens will think they are winning easily. And while they celebrate their victory, our ghost ships will show them the truth, Dr. Brooks smiled. The Emperor thinks he is hunting sheep. He has no idea he is about to meet wolves. Far out in space, Captain Danny Rodriguez felt his ship's engines building power. The UES Wraith and 49 other ships began moving toward Earth. Not fast enough for alien sensors to detect, but fast enough to be in position when the Zephyrian fleet arrived. All ships, came Admiral Morrison's voice over the secret communication channel. The Emperor has made his choice. In 72 hours, we will show the galaxy what happens when you threaten Earth. The countdown had begun. In 3 days, the Zephyrian Empire would learn that mockery has a price, and that price would be paid in blood and fire among the stars. Exactly 72 hours later, space near Earth exploded with light. The Zephyrian fleet tore through the fabric of reality as they emerged from hyperspace. 300 ships appeared at once, each one bigger than anything humans had ever built. Their crystal hulls caught the light from the sun and threw it back in colors that had no names. The flagship Eternal Dominion was the largest of all. It was as big as a city, shaped like a giant crystal cathedral that floated in the darkness. Weapons covered every surface. Energy shields glowed around it like a second skin. Inside the ship, Emperor Vextar stood on his command bridge, looking down at the small blue world that had dared to defy him. Pitiful, he said to his officers. Look at their pathetic planet. No orbital defenses, no battle stations. They are even weaker than our intelligence reports suggested. On Earth, emergency sirens wailed in every city. Television and radio broadcasts told people to take shelter underground. Families huddled in basements and subway tunnels. watching the sky through small windows as alien ships filled the darkness above their world. President Hayes stood in the war room deep beneath the White House. Around him, screens showed the alien fleet in perfect detail. 300 ships against 30. It looked hopeless to anyone who did not know the truth. "Are our people ready?" he asked General Wells. The general nodded. "Commander Adams is leading our visible fleet out to meet them. Our ghost ships are in position and waiting for your order." High above Earth, Commander Tony Adams sat in the captain's chair of the UES Defiance. Around him, 29 other human ships flew in formation toward the alien fleet. These were the ships that aliens had seen before. Older models with simple weapons and basic shields. Ships that were designed to look weak. "Sir," said his weapons officer, "the alien fleet is scanning us. They are cataloging our weapon systems and shield strength." Commander Adams smiled grimly. "Let them look. Let them see exactly what they expect to see." The alien scanner showed the Zephyrians exactly what they wanted to find. 30 human ships with plasma cannons from 50 years ago. Shields that could barely stop a meteor. Engines that moved slower than alien garbage trucks. As expected, Emperor Vextar said to his bridge crew, "Primitive weapons, outdated technology. This will not even be a battle. It will be an execution." He opened a communication channel to the human fleet. His voice boomed across space, translated into human language by computers that turned his crystal speech into words. "Human vessels, you are outmatched by a factor of 10 to 1. Your weapons cannot penetrate our shields. Your ships cannot outrun our fighters. Surrender now, and your deaths will be quick." Commander Adams opened his own channel in response. His voice was calm and steady, showing no fear even though he faced impossible odds. "This is Commander Adams of the Earth Defense Force. You are not welcome in our system. Turn back now, or face the consequences." The sound that came back through the communication link was like breaking glass mixed with winter wind. The aliens were laughing. Emperor Vextar's voice cut through their amusement like a knife. "Consequences? From you? Your ships are museum pieces, human. Watch as we show you the futility of resistance." The first attack came like lightning made of pure energy. Hundreds of weapon beams lanced out from the Zephyrian fleet. The space between the alien ships and human vessels filled with deadly light. Quantum torpedoes streaked through the darkness like falling stars. Commander Adams watched his tactical display as the enemy weapons struck his ships. The Defiance shook under the impact. Around him, other human vessels took hits that would have destroyed normal ships. Their shields flared and sparked. Several ships reported damage to their engines and weapon systems. But they did not break. They did not run. They fired back with their old plasma cannons, sending weak beams toward the alien fleet. The shots struck Zephyrian shields and disappeared like raindrops hitting a mountain. "Pathetic," Emperor Vextar declared. "Their weapons cannot even scratch our paint." What the Emperor did not know was that 50 other ships watched the battle from the darkness. Ships that had been invisible for 3 years. Ships that carried weapons the galaxy had never seen. Captain Danny Rodriguez sat on the bridge of the UES Wraith, deep in the shadow between planets. His ship hung motionless in space, its advanced camouflage making it invisible to every scanner the Zephyrians possessed. Around him, his crew prepared for a moment they had trained for since the day they first met the aliens. "Sir," said his tactical officer, "the enemy fleet is exactly where our computers predicted. They are so focused on destroying Commander Adams that they have not noticed us." Rodriguez nodded. The alien fleet had arranged itself in the perfect formation for what was about to happen. They thought they were hunters surrounding helpless prey. They had no idea they were actually prey walking into a trap set by predators who had been watching them for years. Admiral Morrison's voice came through the quantum communication channel that connected all 50 ghost ships. "All vessels, this is Phantom Actual. The enemy has taken the bait. Our brothers are taking fire to make this look real. It ends now." Rodriguez felt his hand move to the control that would shut down his ship's stealth systems. Around the solar system, 49 other captains did the same thing. Crews that had waited in silence for 3 years prepared to show the galaxy what human engineering could accomplish. Ghost Fleet. Admiral Morrison continued. Initiate Operation Nightfall. Decloak on my mark. Show them what Earth is really capable of. The space around the Zephyrian fleet suddenly filled with new energy signatures. Quantum computers that had been hidden for years came online all at once. 50 ships that had been ghosts in the darkness prepared to become very real nightmares. Emperor Vextar was composing his victory speech when his sensor officer screamed, "Sir, new contacts. 50 ships decloaking around our formation." The Emperor turned to his tactical display just as 50 human vessels materialized out of nothing. Ships sleek and black and deadly. Ships that radiated power levels that made his instruments scream warnings. Impossible, he whispered. But impossible was about to become very, very real. The transformation happened in one heartbeat that lasted forever. One moment the Zephyrian Empire was winning an easy battle against weak human ships. The next moment, 50 ghost ships appeared from empty space like demons rising from hell. Captain Danny Rodriguez felt the Wraith's stealth systems shut down. His ship became visible directly above the Eternal Dominion, close enough to see the crystal patterns on the alien flagship's hull. Around him, his crew moved with the speed and precision of people who had practiced this moment 1,000 times. "Quantum disruption cannon charging," announced his weapons officer. "Target locked on the flagship's main shield generator." Rodriguez smiled coldly. The weapon they were about to fire had taken 10 years to build. It could break apart the molecular bonds that held matter together. No alien in the galaxy had ever seen anything like it. Emperor Vextar stared at his tactical display in shock. 50 human ships had appeared around his fleet like ghosts becoming solid. Ships that his sensors said were impossible. Ships that generated more power than entire Zephyrian battle groups. "How?" he demanded from his bridge crew. "How did they hide from our scanners?" His science officer's crystal face flickered with fear. "Sir, these ships use technology we do not understand. Their hulls bend light and energy around them. Our sensors cannot detect them unless they want to be detected." "Then destroy them," the Emperor roared. "All ships, target the human vessels. Show them the power of the Zephyrian Empire." But the human ships were already moving. They scattered through the alien formation like wolves attacking a herd of sheep. Ships that could phase in and out of normal space. Ships that moved with impossible grace between enemy weapons fire. Captain Sandra Miller commanded the UES Spectre. Her ship danced between 3 Zephyrian destroyers that tried desperately to target her. Their energy beams passed through empty space where her ship had been a split second before. "Their targeting computers cannot track us," her pilot reported with satisfaction. "Our quantum drives let us change direction faster than their weapons can follow." Miller nodded. Human ships had been designed to fight aliens after studying their technology for years. Every weakness had been catalogued. Every strength had been countered. "Return fire," she ordered. "Target their shield generators." The Spectre's plasma cannons were nothing like the weapons on the decoy fleet. These cannons fired beams of matter heated to temperatures found inside stars. When they struck the alien destroyers, the Zephyrian shields simply vanished. Hull metal turned to gas. 2 of the destroyers exploded in balls of fire that lit up space like new suns. Throughout the battle zone, the same scene played out again and again. Alien ships that had seemed invincible suddenly found themselves helpless against human technology they never knew existed. Admiral Morrison's voice cut through the chaos on all communication channels. Both human and alien ships could hear him speak. "Zephyrian Fleet, this is Admiral Morrison of the Earth Defense Force Ghost Fleet. You came here expecting to fight primitives. Instead, you found predators. Surrender now, or learn why humanity earned its place in the stars the hard way." The response came in the form of desperate weapons fire from every alien ship. Energy beams and quantum torpedoes filled space as the Zephyrians tried to fight back. But their weapons had been designed to fight other aliens. They had not been designed to fight humans who had spent years learning how to defeat them. The human ships moved through the enemy fire like it was not even there. Their shields adapted to each attack, learning and evolving with every shot. Energy that should have destroyed them was absorbed and redirected back at their attackers. Captain Rodriguez lined up his shot at the Eternal Dominion. The massive flagship was trying to turn its main guns toward the Wraith, but the human ship was too close and too fast. "Fire quantum disruption cannon," Rodriguez ordered. The beam that shot out from the Wraith looked like nothing special. It was barely visible, just a slight bend in the light of space. But when it hit the flagship's shields, something beautiful and terrible happened. The exotic matter that made Zephyrian's shield so strong simply stopped existing. Molecules came apart at the quantum level in a cascade of light that would have been pretty if it was not so deadly. The barrier that had protected the Eternal Dominion vanished like smoke and wind. "Impossible," Emperor Vextar whispered. His flagship was now naked and defenseless. Around him, his officers stared at displays that showed human ships destroying Zephyrian vessels with weapons that rewrote the laws of physics. Throughout space, the tide of battle turned completely. Ships that could disappear and reappear at will. Weapons that ignored alien defenses. Tactics that had been perfected through years of watching and learning. The UES Thunder appeared next to a Zephyrian cruiser and fired a single shot. The alien ship split in half like it was made of paper. The UES Lightning phased through an enemy destroyer, its hull briefly becoming quantum energy that passed through solid matter before becoming solid again on the other side. The alien ship exploded from the inside out. Captain Rodriguez watched Emperor Vextar's flagship floating helpless in space. Its weapons were offline. Its shields were gone. Its engines were dead. "This is Captain Rodriguez," he announced on all frequencies. "Emperor Vextar, your ship is defenseless. Your fleet is being destroyed. Order your remaining ships to surrender, or we will finish what you started." The Emperor looked around his bridge. Half his officers were dead or unconscious. Smoke filled the air from burning equipment. Through the crystal walls, he could see human ships moving through his fleet like death itself. In 18 minutes, 300 Zephyrian ships had been reduced to less than 50. The rest were either destroyed or floating dead in space. The most powerful fleet in the galaxy had been crushed by humans the Emperor had called primitives. "Sir," his communications officer said weakly, 37 ships are requesting permission to retreat. They are asking if they should surrender or try to escape." Emperor Vextar closed his crystal eyes. His empire had ruled the galaxy for 1,000 years. They had never been defeated. They had never even been challenged. Today, a species they had mocked as weak had just destroyed everything he believed about the universe. "Signal the fleet," he said quietly. "All ships stand down. We surrender." The battle was over. The galaxy would never be the same. The battle lasted 18 minutes. When the last Zephyrian ship either surrendered or fled into hyperspace, Emperor Vextar sat alone on his broken bridge. The Eternal Dominion floated in space like a dead whale, surrounded by human ships that glowed with power he could not understand. A strange light filled the bridge, and suddenly Admiral Morrison stood there. He had not walked through a door or come from a shuttle. He had simply appeared, transported by technology that made the Emperor's crystal skin grow dim with fear. Behind the Admiral came Captain Rodriguez and 6 human soldiers. Their armor was black and seemed to drink in the light around it. They moved like shadows given form, and their weapons hummed with energy that made the air itself feel dangerous. "Your Excellency," Admiral Morrison said with cold politeness, "I believe we need to discuss new arrangements." Emperor Vextar looked up at the human standing before him. Morrison was so much smaller than any Zephyrian, yet somehow he seemed to fill the entire bridge with his presence. The Emperor, who had ruled 1,000 worlds, now felt like a child caught stealing candy. "How?" Vextar asked. His voice cracked like breaking crystal. "Our intelligence told us your ships were primitive. Your technology was centuries behind ours. How did you hide such power?" Morrison smiled, but there was no warmth in it. "Your intelligence saw exactly what we wanted you to see. Did you really think a species that fought its way to the stars would make the same mistake twice? We have been watching you, learning from you, preparing for this day since we first joined. Your council." The Emperor tried to stand, but his legs would not support him. "Impossible. No species has ever defeated the Zephyrian Empire. No species ever had 3 years to study you while you ignored them," Captain Rodriguez said. "You thought we were insects. Insects you could step on whenever you wanted. You never imagined that insects might learn to bite back. News of the battle spread across the galaxy faster than light itself. Quantum communication networks carried the impossible story to every inhabited world. The Zephyrian Empire, masters of space for a millennium, had been destroyed by the species they called primitives. On the Korath homeworld, General Siskarak received the report in his war room. The giant lizard stared at the numbers on his screen. 300 Zephyrian ships destroyed or captured, 50 human ships without a single loss. Technology that made Korath science look like stone tools. Recall all fleets from human space, he ordered his officers. Send a message to Earth. Tell them the Korath hegemony wishes to discuss new trade agreements. The HiveMind Collective's central brain processed the information in nanoseconds. Calculations that had taken years to complete were suddenly worthless. Military plans that had seemed perfect were now suicide. The collective mind that controlled billions of bug-like creatures sent a single message across space. The hive mind wishes peaceful relations with Earth. Even the mysterious Luminari, beings of pure energy who rarely spoke to physical creatures, took notice. Their light forms gathered in the great assembly that floated in the heart of a dying star. For the first time in centuries, they sent ambassadors to speak with solid beings. On Earth, President Hayes stood before the largest crowd in human history. People filled every street in every city, watching giant screens that showed their leader speaking from the White House. Above them, alien ships that had come to destroy their world now sat as prisoners under human guard. Today, we proved that humanity will not kneel, Hayes declared. His voice carried to every human settlement in the solar system. We will not be conquered, dismissed, or ignored. We earned our place in this galaxy through intelligence, determination, and the courage to fight for what we believe in. The crowd cheered with voices that could be heard from orbit. Children who had hidden in bunkers now danced in the streets. Adults who had feared for their lives now celebrated with tears of joy streaming down their faces. 3 weeks later, the Galactic Council held an emergency session. The great chamber that had once echoed with mockery of humanity now hummed with nervous whispers. Delegates who had laughed at human weakness now spoke in respectful tones. Ambassador Lisa Carter entered the chamber, but this time she was not alone. Behind her came a full delegation of human diplomats, scientists, and military officers. She walked to the center of the room where the Emperor's throne used to sit. The throne was gone. In its place stood a simple table with chairs for all species to sit as equals. The Galactic Council recognizes the representative from Earth, announced the session moderator, a nervous Korath who had replaced the Emperor as temporary leader. Carter looked around the chamber at faces that had once dismissed her with contempt, lizard creatures that now avoided her eyes, bug-like beings that clicked nervously when she looked at them, energy beings that dimmed their light in what might have been respect or fear. Earth accepts the Council's recognition, she said calmly. We also accept the Zephyrian Empire's formal surrender and their request for peace negotiations. In the prisoner section of the chamber, Emperor Vextar sat in a chair designed for humans. His crystal form looked small and broken compared to the mighty ruler he had once been. He wore simple clothes instead of royal robes. Guards from 12 different species watched him to make sure he caused no trouble. The former emperor spent his days staring out windows at stars he once commanded. He tried to understand how he had been so wrong about the small blue world that had just rewritten the rules of galactic power. Back on Earth, Captain Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the Wraith. His ship was returning home after 3 months of patrolling former Zephyrian territory. New human colonies were being established on worlds that had once been forbidden to them. Trade routes that had been closed to human ships now welcomed them with open arms. Sir, his communications officer reported, we are receiving surrender requests from 3 more Zephyrian outposts. They want to negotiate terms for joining the new galactic order. Rodriguez nodded. The age of Zephyrian dominance was over. The age of human expansion had begun. But with great power came great responsibility. Earth would have to decide what kind of galactic neighbor it wanted to be. Admiral Morrison's final log entry said it all. Mission accomplished. The galaxy learned today that when you mock Earth, you better make sure we are not listening, and you better make damn sure we are not planning to mock you back. Humanity had taken its place among the stars. The universe would never underestimate them again.